Verkos show. Today, I have this incredible guest on the show. Her name's Puja Mohindra. The reason why I called this episode Seeing the Real Puja is because when I was introduced to her by Parks McGregor, I didn't know who she was. So what I was seeing and hearing was the real Puja. So please welcome Puja Mohindra on the show today. Hi, Puja.
Hi, how are you? Anastasia, thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much for your time today and being on the show. I fell in love with this beautiful girl who's so passionate, so compassionate, has so much drive and passion for humanity. Oh my gosh, I just want people to see this side of Puja.
Thank you. Thank you for these kind words. Honestly, I feel like I've known you for so long. I mean, from the moment you called me, I just feel like I have. I'm genuinely saying this from my heart, and I'm so excited that we get to chat and in such a relaxed, heart-centered way. And I love that you live in Australia and I'm here in Chicago and that we can connect in this way. So thank you so much for this opportunity to connect with you.
You're welcome, Puja, because the people, well, a lot of people know you for being an actor, a writer, a producer, and everything else you do, and all the series you've been in, and all the episodes and everything. But I want them to see the real you because that's who I know. So, what drives you, Puja? What's that passion and drive you have inside you for what you do? Did you always know that you were going to go down this road where you're going now from a young girl?
Yeah, I did know that. Yeah, yeah. It's really interesting because when you say the real Puja, it's so funny because you're saying so many words that are related to my work. And I'm also an aunt, and I'm so in love with my nieces and nephew. And so it's funny because the real Puja is also, so much connected to my family. That's a huge part of my life. And so what drives me is this, I mean, so in Hindu culture, there's this word called vasanas, and what it means is desires. I don't know if you've heard that word before. And my first kind of introduction to the arts was dance, studying Indian classical dance. And I remember one day my teacher was teaching me, and my mom came to pick me up. And my mom was watching the end of the dance, and my teacher, my guru, said that this must have been in her vasanas. And I was like, what is that? I don't know what this is. I've been raised in the United States. And she explained that it is our desires that we come into our lifetime. Like you being the talk show angel, you came into this lifetime with this sole mission to spread a message and connect with people and have the show that you have and tell stories and amplify other people's stories. So I think when she introduced this word, I said, yeah, that feels right. Like this is what I'm called to do, and it is really, really deep seated, like in my core. To express myself creatively, artistically. And the other thing I want to clarify is that we're not here to attain our vasanas. We are actually here to extinguish them, to detach ourselves. And I learned that recently because that to me is also, I feel like part of what drives me is that not to be so clingy to these attachments, attaching myself to these same things and just doing them in service to humanity, in service to the higher good of the world and the collective. And as I mentioned, I'm an aunt. So for the other thing that really more recently, since they've been in my life, drives me is, what can I do to create a better world for them? And that starts with me. Like, how can I be a better person? Because they're watching everything that the adults around them do. And so this has really inspired me to be the best version of myself so that they can and be more conscious of what I'm bringing into the world so that they can also have a strong role model of what it is to be a good human being that is giving back to this world.
And you're doing it because your essence and presence, what you just said then, oh my God, that blows me away because we have to learn as human beings, I find, is to detach from everything and anything and just allow as well, be open to what's out there as well. And I just think that that word that you used is just pretty much hits a nail on the head. Like, and you're living and breathing the example of who you are as well in everything you do, even your latest project, which is Lakshmi Love. You're directing and producing it. And when you sent me the script and I read it and I saw what I saw, I'm going, oh my gosh, this woman's on a big mission in the world and for humanity. And it's going to show, especially in this project too. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about Lakshmi in Love?
Yeah, well, thank you for reviewing the project, and it's really thank you. It's really about an Indian woman who had an arranged marriage, and she stumbles when her husband passes away. She stumbles into first love at 60 years old, and to me, I guess it came from the idea that in my parents' generation, most of them, not everyone, but a lot of that generation of immigrants from India or South Asia had arranged marriages. And so this whole culture, is like falling in love is a new concept. And this leads to the question of what is love? And my guru, Dadaji P. Vaswani, would always say that we don't fall in love, we rise in love. And when we're looking at, I've been watching this show on Netflix called Indian Matchmaking recently, and it's just fascinating because when you look at the East and West, it's like everybody is in this search for love. And how do we, what is that? First of all, like, what is love, so that you can know what it is, to recognize it. And in this film, it's basically a romantic comedy. I would say it's kind of like a When Harry Met Sally meets The Big Sick with Bollywood influences. There's going to be a lot of song and dance. And I'm writing it. I wrote it. I am going to direct it. Neil Landau is our executive producer, along with Steve Stanley. And we just have an amazing team, an amazing co-producer named Yashna Malhotra. And it's just been a glorious collaboration, because it is, everyone that's a part of it is just, you talk so much about coming from your heart. And every one of the people on our team is heart-centered, is operating from their heart. I just feel like when you create something with that pure energy of love and light and service, it just evokes something so miraculous, and it's in the threads of the whole project, just like your show. It's like we can feel that from one another. So this is what I'm just so excited.
Thank you.
Yeah, like
that means the world to me. That means the world to me, because
I really feel that from you. Like, I feel how much love you put into your show, and that it's such an it's such an act of service. It's something that you're doing from your heart. I felt that with Parks too, and this energy is so sacred, and it just is contagious, and it elevates everything. So
that's beautiful. Thank you.
It's true. I really have been surprised by communicating with you, how I can feel that when I've not known you that long. And you've told me about some things that have been going on recently that are challenges. So for you to witness you being so radiant, so giving, so flexible, so in the flow, and so beautiful, it's really teaches us that we can always be this way. This is our natural state, and anything that comes in and out, the challenges, the ups and downs, cannot disrupt this as our natural state. So thank you for that from you.
I've got to admit, Puja, because I think you know a little bit about what's going on in my life right now, and all I'd say to myself is, they can't take away my mobile phone or my tripod stand. It doesn't matter about my surroundings. If they took that away, well, then there's an issue, but they can't take my phone away from me. So that's why in life, when you live from the heart, you realize that no matter what is going on externally, it won't affect your internal. as long as you've got that love and that passion and that drive. You just make it happen one way or another, and it actually happens for you too. But it happens in a way that's undescribable, and it's not always the way you think it's going to go or down that road, but it works out even better. So I've learned a lot in life too, and I've learned that you don't have to have everything to have everything. So yeah, I'm just, yeah. And when you shared your script with me, I was honored. I go, oh my gosh, Puja Mohindra is sharing her script with me. I feel honored. I feel honored. I go, oh my gosh. I was like, but the connection we have, it just goes to show when people do genuine and through the heart and do what they love, and that energy, like we were talking just before we're doing this interview, is because we have so much love, we attract love in our life in all sources and in all ways. And we're blessed to be that consciousness that we're choosing to be, to allow and attract these beautiful experiences in our lives. And it just keeps getting better and better. Like you said, with your movie now, everyone's in their heart space. And the project will be like, yeah.
Everyone is, and the very interesting thing is that I was not always like that. It's like we can, no, really, like I feel like I feel grateful that I can have an awareness around that right now, because then I can keep growing in that journey. And I feel grateful that I understand now that when we create this way, that just really miraculous things can happen, and that, yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, not when I say it doesn't matter, what I mean is the outcome, we detach from the outcome of things because we're just so committed to the intention. And in this case, the intention is, I think stories are an opportunity to amplify the message of love and light. And I think that, I love stories that feel like we went to a party, but really we took people to church. And I really believe that entertainment and enlightenment can be, meeting at this intersection where we can feel entertained and also enlightened. And I love that. And I experience that in other people's work. I can, when you go to see, Silver Linings Playbook, I love that movie, and it's like you're laughing so hard and you're having such a good time, and you're also receiving this amazing medicine on what it is to be human and second chances at love and the resilience of the human spirit. And I love that movie so much. And it's like those two people have gone through so much grief, and yet they come together through love and heal that wound together. And you don't even realize when you're in the movie, because you're just having so much fun laughing and enjoying the music. And then you take a step back and you're like, oh my gosh, I just received medicine, a candy coated vitamin. So these are the stories that I'm interested in. And I think Lakshmi in Love will be really hopefully my intention is that to really empower people around their lives, because in this story, a lot of when her husband passes, when Lakshmi's husband passes, I think that in this generation of women, Indian immigrant women, they weren't given a lot of choices around their lives. They were, that's another thing that comes up in Indian matchmaking, is how people have these arranged marriages. So it's really the first time in her life where when her husband dies and her children are grown, it's like she can do whatever she wants. And then what is it that she wants? And she has to figure that out. So it becomes a little bit of a coming of age story. And I think that the themes that are around it are really about empowerment and agency, and how do we move on from loss, and conscious love, and love being something that transcends all things. It transcends culture and age. And so I'm very excited to create this, and I feel it's just a blessing. It's a blessing to be able to tell stories and reflect on what it is to be human.
Yeah, and it comes from you. It's a reflection of how you're portraying and how you're seeing things within yourself, which that's what I was like when I read it, and the meaning behind it all and what represents it. You're truly an amazing woman. Seriously, Puja.
Oh my God. Thank you.
I'm in awe with you, but yeah, like, and you're so young too, which is fantastic. You've got so much more ahead of you and so much to give of yourself to the world, and they'll be seeing the real Puja. But through all this, do you find that, do you still have any challenges or anything that affects you in any way, and how do you deal with it if you do?
Yeah, of course. I have so many challenges, and I'm with you, girl. Like my spiritual mentor, my guru, he transitioned at 99 years old. He wrote over 100 books that were all self-published. Most of them were self-published. Many were with traditional publishers. So he really inspired in me an independent spirit. This is why I love what you're doing and Parks are doing, just having your own show on your own platform. And so, yeah, I mean, I feel like that is what we came here to experience. It's like, that's where all the lessons are. That's where all the juice is. And it's, yeah, every day, every single day. And I feel like, you know, and I feel like I go through what everyone goes through. It's probably heightened with social media because it's like you see everyone's curated highlight reel every single day. So something I guess I want to do is be more honest about like this, you know, that there are so many challenges, and particularly working in the Hollywood system of things is challenging. It's like, you know, this is where I guess understanding, having an awareness or understanding what it is to have a soul mission, and the idea of vasanas that I brought up earlier, which is you came into this lifetime with this calling. Nobody can take that away from you. And yet when we work in these systems, you know, there's a lot of times I'll prepare an audition. I thought I did excellent work. Maybe I did do it, maybe I didn't. It's not me to judge. My job is just to do the work, to do excellent artistic, creative work every single day, and have that come from my heart, you know, and from this pure-hearted place. However, I'm not gonna lie, when some opportunities don't come together, you just go, oh my God, you know. And I think this for me really also relates to time, because I feel like time is so precious. And so when we invest time into something and then we don't necessarily see this concrete outcome that we wanted, it can be disappointing. And yet I feel there's a huge spiritual gift and opportunity there, because then you get to practice detachment again and again. And this is where I feel like this industry of arts and entertainment is an endless spiritual journey, because there's constant rejection, constant no's, constant, you know, challenges. And in spite of it, you just keep going because you know this is what you were put on this planet to do. And you also learn, or I do, that it is not about this system. It is not about some studio saying that this movie is a green light. Yes, it's like, it's about being empowered, at least for me as an artist, to say, I have a story that I believe that will be in service to the higher good of humanity, will be in service to humanity, can help people. Because, for example, in this film, there's so much stigma to this woman as far as the choices she's starting to make after her husband passes, because everyone else has an idea of what they think she should be doing. That's how women are treated quite a lot, you know. Everyone is telling people what they think they need to be doing. When you're at a certain age, you need to be getting married. At another age, you need to be having a good child. Then, you know, I hear women all the time say, I had my first child. Now they're like, when are you going to have the next one? And it's like, when does it end for women? And then you're this age and you should be looking like this and dressing like this. And it's like,
I was in a similar situation, Puja, I understand, because when I was younger, I got married really young, 19. And the reason why I got married was I was 19, and my husband at the time was nearly 10 years older than me. But back then it was Greek girl, like we always say the status, like had to get married young, had to have children, had to stay home, breed them, the children and raise them. The husband would go. It was a typical stereotype that the Greek girl, that was the way it went. So it was hard for me, and I can relate because I got married to move out of the house because my parents were so strict. So I thought my freedom and my ticket was to get married and get out. And yet did I know that it changed my whole life in so many ways. And then when eventually I did get up and go, I left him. It was like, oh no, a Greek girl doesn't leave a husband. Like, that's not on. Like, I had to live with guilt and shame, like from my parents saying, you know, you can't divorce, you're going to shame our name and this and that. So I can relate. I mean, thank God we're awakened souls and where our consciousness is rising and we can share the truth, because I believe by sharing the truth that we are in all that we do and letting people know, yeah, we do have challenges. Yeah, we have our highs, we have our lows, but that's okay too. You know, it's how we are perceived to see them and how we get over the challenges that makes us who we are.
Yeah, I could not agree more. And I really appreciate you being so vulnerable to share this, because people need to hear this. And it's interesting, Greek culture and South Asian culture is very similar in this way of how what the expectations are around women. So yes. And I don't want to say everyone in generalize, but this is what comes up in Lakshmi in Love, is everyone has these ideas of what Lakshmi should be doing now that her husband has passed. And so to go back to the original point was that these stories, like, you know, going back to the challenges and stuff, I feel like one of the greatest things I learned from my guru and from other artists that I admire, including what you're doing, is that when you do have this in your heart, whatever it is your soul mission, whatever is your calling or your highest purpose in life, it doesn't matter what all the systems and institutions around you are saying or doing. And the beauty is we don't world where we don't need, you know, we don't need Disney to say yes to this movie. I would love if they did, you know. Don't get me wrong. Hi Disney, call me. But I mean,
you know what it is? I don't think anyone can understand our project in our heart, where we see where we're going with it. No one can see the vision. Like everyone says, like even some people confronted me with, oh my gosh, you know, your show is the biggest mistake, this and that. Like, they can't see the vision. They can't see the
wait, repeat that part. I'm a little shocked.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine saying that, you know, your show has ruined you, you've lost everything because of this show. And I'm thinking, people don't understand the passion and drive you have inside. They can't see the vision. And these are the challenges. And then, let's be real, these are the challenges we are confronted with. I don't know about you, but I am. But then I just look at it in my eyes, in my world, and I just see what I want to do. Nothing stops me. I will keep moving forward. I will keep going, because that's, like you said, it's instilled in me. I only can understand me, and the people that will connect and understand. But the ones that don't, that's okay too. So yeah, like these are challenges, but it's good that we're sharing how we overcome them. You know what I mean? Like, we've just got that passion and drive, and like you said, it doesn't matter what anyone says, any company, any production company, one way or another, it transforms into a project, and what you love, it will just create and become bigger and bigger. And how it happens, like you said, get detached, just allow it. It does happen, and before you know it, you've already done it. You think, oh my gosh, it's done. Next.
Yeah,
Never question.
I could not agree more. I would do living room readings of my one-woman show in living rooms. You know, literally, we would do readings of my solo show in living rooms. And when I started dance, you know, it was like we were dancing in our parents' house, you know, for the Super Bowl halftime show. And it's interesting that when you're a child, people don't say that to you, right? When we're children, you know, growing up, we would create dances, and then we do them like in our living room for our parents, like, you know, in the halftime of basketball games, or just do them at sleepover parties or whatnot. And I don't understand now that you're bringing it up, what happens when we become adults that other adults all of a sudden say, like, why are you doing this? Like, somehow when you're a child, it's okay to be curious and play, have fun and be joyful and be blissful. That is our natural state. But for whatever reason, when you're an adult, people want to see this kind of like concrete, capitalistic outcome. And I'm not saying that abundance isn't everyone's birthright, and that, that your work shouldn't have worth to it and create abundance when it is your profession. However, I am saying that sometimes certain things, well, I guess what I'm saying is, how are people measuring this? When people say, like, your show, you should be doing your show has ruined this or that. It's like, how are they measuring this? Because I can tell you, I remember doing a one-woman show in a living room in front of maybe 8 people in LA one time, and someone at the end of the show said, thank you so much, because I think I didn't realize it, but through watching your show, I realized I am in an abusive relationship and I am going to leave. And I mean, that was it. It was like, oh my God, if I had to do the show like hundreds and hundreds of times in living rooms, just to have that one person say that I'm leaving in an abusive relationship was probably the whole purpose of the show. Like, I fulfilled my, if I never sold the ticket, because for me, at the heart of it, it's taking those challenges, as you're saying, and transmuting them and being like, okay, what can I take how can I take my pain and transmute it into light, beauty, and helping somebody else? And I know that I've received that gift from other artists. I've listened to YouTube shows and seen TV shows and movies where I'm like, oh my God, I learned something, and you literally changed the trajectory of my life. So it's like, feels very natural to just offer that in return. However, sometimes people are waiting for that. People on the outside watching you or I are waiting for that big, institutional validation. And the reality is, we don't need that. It's not, or at least I don't think you do, or you wouldn't be on YouTube. And I definitely don't think I would, because I would not be making a movie independently if I felt I needed that. I think that one of the things I admire about my guru so much is he just wrote book after book after book, and he self-published them, and some of them were with traditional publishers. And it was his path in this life to share his message, his interpretation of life, to enlighten others. And that's like where that's so pure, and that's really what it really is. Everything else, how many people read it, how many people complimented it, how many people bought, he wasn't selling books for profit, but what I mean is how many people bought it in terms of this numbers and data and things like that. That was not the priority. The priority was to be of service. And I think that lesson is the greatest one that he's one of an infinite amount of greatest lessons he's given me.
But that's what we're doing now. Even your project, my project, it's through us and our experiences that by sharing that, like you're sharing your message of love and light and humanity through that word that you learned. I'm doing it through my trials and tribulations, my highs and lows. And I just believe that if we share stories and let people know that, hey, it's okay to fail. Hey, it's okay if you've gone through this, but hey, you can get on top of this. Hey, you can change your life. Like different ways of sharing the message, but it's in us. It's instilled in us. That I don't know what it is. It's like we have to do it. It's just like it's like if I can make someone's life, even one person's life, that little bit easier, so they don't have to go through what I went through, then I feel blessed and I feel grateful.
Yeah. And I also, when you speak, I think, what's the alternative? Like me going out to dinner and, and me like, what is the alternative? It's like shopping. That's not really of interest to me, like, don't get me wrong, I'm a human being. I love fashion and I love like spending time with friends and I love food. I'm not saying that, but it's like, I know in my heart that there's so much more than just going out to dinner and shopping. And I just don't. I've always felt like a sense of and I'm not, I'm human, so I'm not saying like, I actually hope one day we get to go out to dinner, and when you come to Chicago, I'm looking forward to doing that, right? Yeah, I can't wait. And that's gonna be so fun. So I'm not saying those things aren't fun and nourishing in some way. However, if that was the only thing in my life, I literally don't know any other way to be. Like, and it's funny because Parks and I talked about this too. And when you've been an artist for your whole entire life, you do kind of, and people ask you, have you always been doing this? It's funny because it's like, yeah, I literally don't know how to be anything else. And I literally have been writing, acting, creating, doing art, in some form or another since I was a child. This is why I think, if my parents are ever like, oh, this because this career is very unstable. It's like you got ups, you got downs, it's unpredictable. And if they've ever been like, why bother with this? I think they really do see that, which is that's her. Like, she doesn't know any other way to be but be a creative person, a storyteller, an artist. And I think that the more you can also surround yourselves, I hope that everyone who listens to your show hears this, not so much about being an artist or being a storyteller, but being connected and aware of your soul mission. Because the thing you came in this lifetime to do, that is why we're here. So I'm not saying that has to be being a storyteller. I'm saying if that's you being a mother, or you being a business person, or you being a yoga teacher, or you being a chef, whatever it is, it's like the more you can cultivate an awareness that this is why you're here and commit to that path, and the more you can surround yourself with people who nurture you and root you on, that is what we all need, we really do. So all those people, what?
It's, I was gonna say, it's actually choosing to live your truth. What's your truth? Everyone's got a different truth. This is my truth. This was what I've chosen at this stage of my life. This is living me. This is being my truth. And what you were saying is, whether you want to be a housewife, it's actually choosing to live your truth. If that's what you want to do, and you're true to that, and this is real, well, then just be it, do it, live it. It's that simple.
Yeah. And it's really being about being your authentic self and being understanding why you're here. And I just think that something that I think some people do have it innately. Like, I think I always knew I was here to help others. That was always like a priority to me. But yeah, I think that idea of soul mission is, I was introduced to that more recently, like a couple years ago. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, now I get it. Okay, well, I have a word for this feeling inside of me, because I didn't. So and now I feel grateful for this feeling, because I think that if you don't have this connection to why you're here, it's easy to feel lost.
It's so true, because it's true, because I started my show in 2016, did it for 5 months and gave it all up, and restarted it again now in 2022. And now I'm on a better understanding of everything, and the connections that are coming in, and the guests are like, oh my gosh. So it's all about timing as well. Like you said, you've got to be open, you've got to be ready, you've got to connect with your inner self. And when that connection hits, it's like there's no stopping you. You will just keep going. And you don't care how or when or whatever, you just do what you love. And that's pretty much it. And then more of it, more blessings, more miracles, more connections come in, and you're like, I love it. And you just want more of it. And the more you're in that consciousness, the more it comes to you in all forms and glory.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true what you're saying. What did you do during that break when you took a pause? What was that like?
I'll put it this way. I had a company that were promising all my dreams overseas, and then they said, "Oh, stop your show. No more production, no more nothing. We'll publish your story in a book form, and then we'll do a movie about you, but we'll concentrate on your show. So they were delivering a lot of false promises, and I held on to that, and I thought it was going to come true. And then COVID hit, and then all of a sudden, just like a few months ago, they said, Anastasia, you can't come to America unless you have a shot. And what's going on? And then they said, no shot, no show. And I thought, well, I'm not vaccinated. And I think each to their own. Everyone's got their own opinion about it. But I didn't want to get vaccinated because I take care of myself and my body and what I put into it. And they said, no shot, no show. And I was like, I waited for so long. And I'm thinking, I was devastated. But then I had to go within. I took a couple of days to breathe. And then I thought, okay, this wasn't my destiny. I have to be true to myself. That's why I mentioned to you, be true to yourself in everything. I thought, it's not what I want, but I want to get the shot. And essentially, what are you going to do? You've got to get back up on your feet, and you've got a phone, and that's not stopping you, and you've got to create your show again. If that's your love and passion. And then I had a really close friend of mine, God bless her, Catherine, I know she'll be watching this episode. She goes, what's stopping you really, Anastasia? I said, I'm embarrassed. I left my show, and people would probably think and going to ask me all these questions. What happened to her? Why did you stop the show? And I didn't want to be confronted with those questions. She goes, Anastasia, your show's there where you left it. What are you worried about? No one's going to ask you anything. Just put yourself out there. People are drawn to you anyway. And I've got to thank her. That was the biggest message that anyone could have given me, to say, you know what, she's right. And even if they do ask you the questions, it's okay that you failed or things didn't go the way you chose them to be. But now I've got a choice, and they're coming and turning away my way. I'm just still doing it, still producing it all on my own with a mobile phone. There's nothing stopping me, and I do it in my terms now, which is really, really different, and I'm loving it. So thank you for asking me that question, because I'm sharing my truth with people. I'm finally coming open about it, because I think people got to know where I come from too as well. So that was a nice question to ask. Thank you. Even though I'm interviewing you. But
I love everything you say about that. And that the other thing too is that what I'm learning with this is doing things, on your independently, let's put it that way, is that then we can also change the paradigm of these systems, because like they're not necessarily always operate right. Not all these institutions, it's not their fault, right? People get into habits and patterns that seem to be functional, so they're going with them. However, for example, on our team with Lakshmi and Love, we have for the most part decided we are not working on weekends. So we do not send emails to each other on weekends. Which is not really how entertainment always works. A lot of times, like when you're on a film team, people are sending work stuff related things every day, any day, all day, whatever, night, evening. There's no kind of boundaries all the time. And so we just decided this because I really feel that people deserve to take a true break on the weekend. And actually, when you reached out to me the first time, I said, I don't really talk on the weekends because this is my time. My weekend is my time to restore myself. And
I loved it. I respected that so much in you. I thought, put it on there, because you got to draw the line, because in that period of time when you're working too, you tend to lose yourself a bit too. So you need that time to ground yourself and re-come into yourself and see the week for what it was, and see everything more clearly when you start again Monday to Friday. And the beauty is we've got choices now, and we can do that. We're thinking outside the box, which is absolutely fantastic. And we can realize ourselves that we can make it happen all on our own.
Yeah. And there are just so many things that when I think of when I work in those institutions, I haven't had that opportunity as of yet. And when I do, like, I hope that I'm able to integrate new patterns. And I think this is the opportunity for, particularly as women, I really would love to see a Hollywood that's more mom friendly and more parent friendly and more family friendly, and just healthier hours and healthier, healthy.
Because you've worked with on series like Living Lawyers on Netflix. You've done Chicago Med, Chicago Fire appearances and that. How do you see the difference now, like coming on board now doing Lakshmi in Love, where you're in control, being director, producer? How do you see the difference in the way they do things on working on set with those projects to what you're doing now? Because you're coming into this now and you're seeing it with your own eyes. What difference do you see?
It's a really good question. So this is funny because this is something I've never talked about. So your title of the show is Seeing the Real Puja, and you're gonna hear the real thing that is the real one of the different.
Yeah.
Not to sound like super hippie, but so I haven't worked on those shows as an actor. I have not worked yet. I look forward to working as an executive producer on shows in those systems, in those Hollywood systems. However, that has not been my journey yet. Up until now, it's been my own productions, independent production. So one difference that I kind of feel, it's something I more feel because I haven't been in the trenches. I have been in development, just not production. So right now, the way our team works is very integrating what I would call universal laws of attraction, manifestation, spirituality, and just good vibes and energy, right? So intuitive, heart-centered. So even in our team meetings, like we make decisions that are intuitive and that just feel like the direction that we should go in. And we then get curious about where that leads. And sometimes, a lot of time, it requires going past our comfort zone. And also, I noticed that we're more and more working in this very quantum field way that would be right now. I don't want to say impossible. My guru always says impossible is I'm possible, but I'll give you a great example. I meditate every day, and this past week, twice in meditation, this woman's name came to mind. And I told our co-producer Yashna, her name has come to me twice in meditation. I need to send her the project. She was like, great. And I said, I have no idea, Yashna, how she's meant to be a part of this. I don't know if she's meant to be acting. I don't know if she's meant to, pass the project along to someone else who needs to read it. I don't know. All I know is I heard her name in meditation. I'm going to send her the script. Yashna was like, awesome. Let me know, what she says. I don't know if I could go to Netflix and say that someone's name came up in meditation and that we need to approach them. I don't know if we live in a culture like this yet. And yet, like, I feel like a lot of magical things have happened operating in this way. A couple of weeks ago, or now it's probably a month or two ago, someone came up in my dream, someone I know, and I told them this, this may sound strange, but you were in my dream and I got this message, and I think I'm supposed to pass it on to you. And I told him the message, and the message was that love is always the answer. He was in a lot of stress in the dream, and I got the message that love is always the answer. So I sent him that email, and he wrote me back, and he said, I went back to the calendar to the day that you had the dream, and I think I know what you're talking about. I think I know what was going on, and thank you for the message. And it blew my mind, because it takes someone to, he could have easily been like, you are bananas, and instead he was also operating on a field that is just outside of what we see in the material world. And I just think that's the kind of things that I'm seeing with our team. And I don't know if I would say that, Steve, for example, I don't know if he would actually, if he operates this way, but what is fascinating and that I love and I feel so grateful for is they hold space for me to operate this way, which is intuitive and instinctive and very right-brained. And I think that is special. And I think that the way the world is going, that people are going to be allowed and permitted to work more this way. That I had an experience and a lot of things
that's happened. Everything that's happened in the world at this present moment, the last couple of years, I think it's a blessing, because it has enlightened us as humans to make changes and choices where we do live from that half space, where we can create our projects on our own. We can take a different path. We don't have to be caught up in systems or anything like that. And I think this is the biggest lesson as humanity that we've learned, because I believe a lot of us have been praying for these changes, and it had to happen the way it did in order for us to be who we are today in a lot of situations. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I think that this is something that is, I think we are going to see people feeling safe to make choices that this way. And it's going to be a leap. Like, how do you go into a corporate institution and say, I feel like this is what we need to do? I feel it in my heart. We're so used to saying, like, I did an Excel spreadsheet and the data shows me X, Y, and Z. However, is that really yielding what in all cases always the best outcome? So I mean, I think, yeah, I think that I think that I feel grateful that I am surrounded by a team that allows this, that encourages it, and I encourage it in them, and it does lead to some very magical things and nonlinear thinking, and I'm learning that. I didn't kind of, I'm learning this from other people like you, people on social media, people that are coaches and healers and mystics and ascended masters. I'm learning it from them. I feel like I'm a student, and I'm just going to keep studying this path, because I just think that the creative process is, for me, a spiritual experience. So and an emotional one, an intuitive one. So I really don't know how to use rational laws in an experience, to me, that's already mystical.
Yeah, it's so true. It's a beautiful place to be in our lives, and unless you actually follow your truth and your true calling and your path and take that risk, because our names are on the line, everything's on the line when we put ourselves out there. Like, I use social media for good because I just love love. I'm just a love girl. And if I can, sorry?
You said you love love or love laughter?
I love love. I'm just a love girl. I've got a tattoo on my back. I've got a tattoo on my lower back, love. It's all about love. And when you actually connect with it, it's just an outstanding experience and feeling. And it just actually, you just want more of it, because you're in the best place in your life, whatever the outside source is, whatever's happening on the outside world, you know what, inside you know that you're going to be okay and everything's going to be fine. It's just an inner peace of knowing of that. Oh, it's just, yeah. And you know what, we all discover it at different ages and different stages of our lives, and I'm just blessed to be able to pick up my phone again to start my show again, and I'm very grateful that I can. And then I get to meet you, I get to meet so many incredible people, and it just keeps getting bigger, and the more we're sharing the love and the light, the more it empowers us, and the more we share the knowledge of the universe, it empowers everyone. And I think that's a big key as well, is sharing the knowledge with others. And also, I believe forgiveness too, to forgive everything and everyone, and even your life situations in the past. And you've got to learn to forgive to be able to move forward, because I know that I had to learn to forgive myself for being in that situation and everything, and to actually just have the guts again to get up and start my show again. So yeah, it's been a blessing, and I'm blessed I'm in a position that I am, that I can do all this and be enlightened to it all, and welcome everyone into that light of that love. And the more you're in it, the more state you're in that love, the more you're attracting it in other beings, and it's like, oof.
I wish, yeah, I love everything you're saying. And I just, it's so amazing to work with people like this. I really feel it's like there's so much trust and safety, and it feels so good. And it feels like a opportunity to grow too, because the other thing that came up when you were speaking is that also we're confronted with our shadow selves, our shadow. Like, I have a lot of fear that I bring to things, and I want to be standing in love, not fear. And so when I have like a collaborator like Neil or Yashna, they keep mirroring back to me because they're embodying love. And then, like I feel when I can say to them, am I being really like, what did I say to them? I said something to her this week that was like, oh, tell me honestly, am I going too fast? Is my pace too fast? Because I want to make decisions around the project that are thoughtful and conscious and that have been intentional. And sometimes I can be kind of like impulsive and spontaneous and
You're like, I'm not that sure.
and she said, no. Sometimes like fast is good, because you're in the momentum of that energy, you're in alignment. So it's just this kind of team is not, I feel like I'm not just creating a piece of art, I'm growing as a human being. And I feel like these are the workplaces and the teammates that we want to be. That's the kind of team that you want to be with. And so, yeah.
I'm so excited. You know what? We could talk all day. We've got so much to share with the world. But you know what? The world's going to see all aspects of us because we're going to show the world all our aspects in everything that we do. And this is the glory of being who we are and choosing to be who we are at this present moment in time on this planet. So, yeah, it was really
hard. It's been so hard too. I want to say that, like, there's been so many hard things. So your gratitude, the reason it inspires me so much is because I know that there have been so many challenges along the way, and I feel the same. And, I have to tell you, it gave me chills when you spoke about forgiveness, because when I meditated today, I was told forgiveness was something we need to talk about. And I can't believe that you brought it up. I mean, I can believe it because it came up, but it's just amazing that you brought up forgiveness.
Yeah, I believe forgiveness is really big because I've gone through a lot in my life, and I do eventually want to bring out a book about my life and a movie and a story, because I don't think people know what I've gone through. And I believe, like you said, I was meant to create this show because I can resonate with so many people, with so many experiences, because I've gone through so much. And what I had to learn through the whole process is, number one, forgiveness and love. Love yourself no matter what. Love others unconditionally. Never judge, and forgive. Forgive yourself first and then forgive others and get on with your life. That's my biggest 3 things that I go by. Yeah, first, love, forgiveness, and love unconditionally, and also don't judge. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's amazing, because in my meditation, unconditional love came up, forgiveness, and the other thing was guru, having a guru.
Yeah.
This is something, having some mentor. When I say guru, I mean a mentor, having a mentor in your life that can guide you. And this is something I just feel is essential to growing. And it's a little bit more Eastern idea, right? But that is something that I think that people are seeking, because particularly after COVID, I think that a lot of people have kind of woken up because it's been so challenging. And so for me, the third thing that came up was guru, having a guru to guide you, to guide your journey, a singular voice that you can go to again and again. And for some people that may be their priest, some people it may be a teacher, some people it may be friend.
Yes.
That the understanding that there's someone else that can guide us through, and we all have that, like when we go to work, we have a boss, right? And when Neil is my writing guru. I feel so grateful that even way before this collaboration, I told him, because I met him as being his student, and I said, thank you for being my guru, because that is such a sacred relationship. That's another reason why this project is so close to my heart and so special, is because to create something with to create art with the person who taught you how to write it's an honor. I can't believe that I can't even believe we're getting to do this. And yeah, so
it happens fast. Have you noticed, Puja, the more you're in it, the more it just keeps happening fast. And before you know it, you've done it and you think, wow, like, yeah.
That's what I'm learning too, is trying to enjoy the journey more.
Yeah,
enjoy the journey. How do you do that though? We all, like, I'm very like, oh, I need to make the movie. I need to do this. But I'm realizing if I keep operating this way, I will miss the whole journey. and
Oh,
enjoying the journey is something I'm trying to focus on more.
it's funny you say that. Look how energies attracted us to each other. I'm like that now. I said, it doesn't matter what's going on in my life, Anastasia, stop focusing on what's going on in your life and focus on this moment. You're missing the journey. Enjoy the journey now, and everything else will fall into place. And it's like, this is what I'm doing now. No matter what it is, like my friend yesterday, it was Father's Day here in Australia, and she goes, oh, listen, yeah, she goes, I've lost my father and she's lost her father. And then her partner, who she was in love with and had her children with, died, and he committed suicide, and he was 29 at the time. And she goes, you know what, we're going to go celebrate me being a father and a mother to my children. I thought it was really cute. So we randomly, we went out for a brunch and we had it. And then she goes, what do you want to do? I said, I just want to get on a train and go somewhere. She goes, all right, let's do it. We did it. And we ended up getting off at a place where she and that her partner at the time grew up, their relationship, where they met and everything. And I thought it was so beautiful and so touching that we ended up going there. We enjoyed that day so much, and we laughed so much because, you know, it's been 29 years since I've been here where I was living with the love of my life. And I'm glad it took you to come into my life, to come back here and see everything again and remember him for who he was and what he was in my life. And I was like, now that's enjoying the journey and being in the moment. And this is what means, it was just, I was like, you know, it really was really touching, really touching. And this is what we've got to realise. We can't fly so far ahead and we're missing this moment, because this moment is creating the next moments, because we're in the present. And if we miss the present, which is present, we're missing everything. So, yeah. But anyway.
It's so true. It's so true. It's like I look back on, you know, how this writer-creator journey all started. It's like I was making things with my friends, and like I said, doing living room readings and reading scripts in like the living room. And those were the best times. I mean, every time is the best time. And it's like, we don't get to do that anymore. You know, my friends that I was doing that with, like now everyone's just in a different phase. They're on shows, they're running shows, and you don't realize that you will never have that time again. It's like when your niece is like, you know, 2 and she's so cute and all she wants to do is like sit in your lap, and then she grows up and then she doesn't want to be in your lap, you know, and you don't realize that, particularly with what we're talking about, because these kinds of things, you know, they just grow and grow and grow. And it's, we live in a world where we can so much see where you want to go, you know, like you want your show here, or you want it with this production company, or you want that. And it's all external. And it's like, this is part of, I don't know how you feel about this living in Australia, but this is why I love living in Chicago. I feel like it keeps me grounded and I stay balanced and in harmony with like what life really is about. It's like one moment after the next, and it's going, you know, on a train to not knowing where you're gonna, you know, land, and then landing in that destination that has so much sentimental value, and then sharing that moment with your friend. And we all, like many of us that are doing this, think it's going to be when we have the show here, when we do, you know, I would love for my film our film to premiere at Sundance and stuff, but that's not it. It's not it. It's the moment, like I know that it's the moment of the making of it that is the most transformative, fun, intimate thing. You know, the way we've gotten closer, that I feel closer to the people I'm collaborating with, and you, right? Even in this conversation, it's like, this is so special, you know, this is so special. And and I think it does come down to how pure it is, because that purity is preserved when, you know, it's like this. And that's the thing that I want to keep preserving in my work as it grows, is that purity. We see this all the time with artists, right? Like you discover a musician that you love and they're so pure, but then all of a sudden they get this big label and then all of a sudden their sound changes and people are like, what the heck? You know, like that artist wasn't like what I fell in love with to begin with. So I think this is just, yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, it's not the easiest thing for me. And I think it's because it's so easy to see everything out there. It's so easy to be like, I want my show on this platform and I want it to be looking like this and stuff. And I think when you miss the moments because you were focusing on something else enough times, then you realize, no, you know, like I have an experience where I was so focused on the destination that I felt I missed a lot of the journey. And then when it concluded, I told the women in the space, I said, I feel like I missed the whole thing. And
that was like me, that time off I took. I missed the whole thing because I was so focused on the destination.
When
the show, you know how I told you I gave the show a break, you asked me? I was so focused on the destination that I missed the journey. Like, where now I'm creating from the journey. I'm creating from day by day, and I don't even think of the destination because wherever it's going to lead me, it's going to lead me. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and you're enjoying the journey. It's our examples and our experiences that everyone can see out there what we're sharing today, which is so amazing, Puja. We've covered a lot today, and they're actually seeing the real Puja, which is fantastic. So one more thing before we go today, because we could be here for hours.
yeah,
If you had a message you could deliver the world today, what would that message be?
honestly, I don't know why I say honestly, because I'm always honest.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Honestly, I'm like, why are you saying honestly? That's already like a given. What comes to my heart when you ask that question is gratitude. Because even when we talk about this, like not when we miss the journey because we were so focused on the destination or the destination after that, I feel like that comes back to gratitude. It's like gratitude, this is the thing that I feel I observe in a lot of people. And I feel like I meet a lot of people because I teach as well as work professionally. And this, as you know, is practice and a business where you meet so many different types of people, right? All the time you're meeting different types of people. And I feel like it's very common for everyone wanting to be at the next thing. And this idea of what we're talking about, being in the present moment, appreciating the present moment, it's like everything so much comes down to gratitude, because everything that we already need and want, we already have. It's in us, you know, it's in us. And it's like, for example, there was some people that I wanted to see this weekend. It's a holiday weekend here, and I didn't get to see them for other reasons. And there's like an older version of myself that would have been like, oh my God, why can't I see them? I want to see these people. Like, I should be able to, like, why? And I feel grateful because now I do feel like I'm in a place where it's like, oh, that didn't happen. Okay, great. Then I get to appreciate that now I have, instead of being with them this afternoon, I can be with myself and just relax and do things that I haven't gotten a chance to do. And I just think gratitude, and also understanding that everything is always working out for us. Everything. And the better it gets, the better it gets. Like you mentioned this about the production company, that if you said this the first time we spoke, which was, since I'm doing that, I'm not able to do that, it's because I'm clearly meant to be doing something else on my own. And I just think that this lesson has kind of showed up for me over and over again, because I always think I want this, and then when that doesn't happen, most frequently I feel disappointed, but then it's revealed to me that something better came along on my path.
So I agree. There's always something better. Always something better. If it doesn't work out like it's meant to, that you think it will, I believe it's always for something better. And I believe everything in my life that I've gone through, it doesn't matter how much I went through, it's always for something better. And this is what is revealing to me now.
Yeah, like there's this amazing meme I love on that I've seen on Instagram, and it's like what I want, and it's like a blueprint of a 1-bedroom apartment, and then it basically says what your higher power wants, and it's a blueprint of this giant mansion, and it's like so funny because we think that like what we want, we think that dream is like so big and so epic and everything, right? But like you think about the universe, and when you see that meme, you're like, oh my gosh, it blows my mind because the universe wants things so much more incredible and so much more, gorgeous and grand, and it's so much bigger than what we could even imagine for ourselves. And that meme to me completely illustrates it. And if you can, when we appreciate what we have, we receive more. And however, a lot of people can't get to that because they're not appreciating what they have. I really think this is something too that is, it's gotten a lot better because people are talking about gratitude as a practice a lot more in the West. However, myself included, I felt guilty of this. Like, I do think that I really am appreciative of having immigrant parents in this respect, because it's, particularly being American, it's so easy to, complain or criticize about things that are really first world problems. Like the things that we have in the Western world, there's so many privileges that we do not have and that people do not have in other countries. And these things we get to be grateful for. It's hard to know, right? Especially if you haven't traveled in a lot of different places. It's easy to be like, this is wrong with this country. And this is, I hear things like that all the time. And I'm sure you do too, right? And I think gratitude is the thing that just allows you to appreciate what you have while setting out the intention to have more. And I think, for me, myself included, for a long time, I think I was just all about wanting more.
Yeah, I think
not
we've
being
all
great.
gone through that stage. Yeah, we've all gone through that stage. And I believe I had to lose everything to be who I am today, to be what you're saying. Because that's made me who I am today, knowing that, just be grateful this present moment. Just be grateful for everything and how far you've come and what you've accomplished and what you've done. Doesn't matter about the past, the good, the bad. Just be in this moment, be grateful, and just keep moving forward and just be happy. Happy in all ways and always. Yeah.
It's a choice. And I will say, being in theater and TV and film, it's so easy to just always want more. And, because like everybody just wants more. And I shouldn't say everybody, I should say myself, because that's really like the person that I feel like I was. And I do think that even though people were intellectually telling me gratitude, my guru spoke a lot about gratitude. My parents, particularly my mom, speaks a lot about gratitude. And I don't know what it was. I really don't think I latched onto it. And in this way, when also we heighten our suffering when we can't be grateful, because then we're just kind of constantly, complaining and criticizing. And I think, to answer your question too, with one final thing, that is connected to seeing good. Because if we see good, we will experience good. And if we want to see, if we want to see light, we're going to see light. If we want to see darkness, we're going to see darkness. It's really a choice. So what are we going to choose? And I do feel grateful that I finally figured that out, because I feel so much happier now.
I'm so proud of you. So you're amazing, because the energy we put out there, it's really, really simple when you can actually get it. It's the energy we put out there is the energy we receive back.
Yes.
It's that powerful. It's that simple, but you got to work at it. You got to choose it, like you said. You got to keep choosing it at every given moment. And the fact that we're doing what we're able to do, which we are truly blessed and grateful, is because we are doing the work. We're choosing it, no matter what's going on in life. This is our choice. We're making consciously, and we're moving forward. But you know what? Puja, it was so nice having you on the show again. We've got to do this sometime again, but you know what? We're going to make a promise to do it in real life.
Yeah, I would love that. Whenever you come to Chicago, I would love to meet in person. It would be such a pleasure.
Definitely. Love you so much, Puja. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank
Love
you.
you, girl.
We'll see you
All right,
soon.
all right then. Signing off for now from the Talk Show Angel on the Verkos Show. Take care, beautiful. Mwah.
Bye. Much love.
Much love.